All right, we're back again. Once again, I lied. We'll bring back the shitty 1 and 5 team again. So brace yourself for a 30-minute session instead of the 15-minute speed run. It's normally how it works. So we're just gonna kick off into it. Go right into, once again, my team always first. It's the way it works. Suck it up. Uh, T. Wells, not a good week. Not much for him at all. Um, I think scoring along the league was down as a whole. 116s, 107s. Couple good weeks from Jimmy. Um, James had a good week. Kenny should have been a good week. 120 was decent, but lots of 100-ish scores. So Wentz getting hurt, well, just being bad. Now he's hurt, which probably helps me because I don't start him. But Ramondre Stevenson, turns out he's kind of a beast without Damian Harris. I like that guy.
They
Damian
are
Harris can sit for a while,
they are both beasts without each other. I
pretty
looked at
much.
it earlier this week. They are basically clones of each other in numbers. The only problem is they just vulture carries from each other.
Yep. Najee saved by a touchdown. These Deontay and Najee are the big problems in my team. Theoretically too talented not to start, but not putting up enough points to be a true good talented team that I have here. Jamar Chase, had a Jamar Chase game. Goddard was down. Oh, I didn't even check the scores. That happened. Cool. That's a problem for next week. T. Higgins, 10 points. And then Mariota. Mariota's been, it's hard to see on the screen, but 19, 13, 15, 3, 17, and 24. Outside of that week 4, that's a hell of a starting quarterback when you look at my team. So he might be slotted in as a week to week guy for me.
When the baseline benchmark is like Wentz scoring 4 points, it's easy for them to look like a great starting guy for you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Wentz got outscored by the next Dolphins quarterback to get hurt.
yeah. So we got Bridgewater would be useless for me. Brissett, uh, time is limited. Didn't have Henry this week, but Harris out. Robert Woods, been mediocre all year. Elijah Moore just absolutely not panning out from a great year he started off with last year. Lots of high hopes, and now the Jets look mostly dysfunctional outside of Brees Hall. And then Garrett Wilson looks to be the bigger guy there now. But I don't know. Elijah Moore showed something. I'm holding out hope.
Garrett Wilson had one catch for 8 yards in that game.
Well, yeah, they caught 10. There was 10 completed passes, and Brees Hall had a couple, I think.
Running backs were three of them.
Yeah, tight end, right. So I like to see Wandale finally healthy. Got a touchdown. We'll see if he's able to keep that up. That's the guy, Kate Otten. With Cameron Braid unfortunately having another head injury. Hope he recovers well, but um, for my own personal sake, I'm okay if he takes his time to make sure that those head injuries are healed up. So yeah, I once again I won. We're 3-3. I don't think my team is anywhere near title contention as it is unless the Steelers team gets their shit figured out. So and T
Second
Wells,
second lowest scoring teams in the league win titles all the time.
yeah man,
Sorry,
trust
third,
me, it's
third,
gonna work out.
third,
I think I'm
third.
second.
Nope, third.
Ah,
Oh no,
damn.
that's an eight. Yep, nope, yep,
Nope,
second lowest.
second lowest. Thought so. T Wells, Russell Wilson. Hey, that might be one of his better games this year. Yeah, it's his third best week. That's not bad. So,
The only problem is he was down so far that he needed like 45.
yeah. Sanders continues. At least 15. J.K. Dobbins sat as a precaution whole second half. Um, Curtis Samuel. I mean, you're still relying on Carson Wentz to throw you the ball.
See Carson Wentz. Well, not anymore. Taylor
Not
Heineke, baby.
anymore. My boom. Debo just. I don't know what to think of the San Francisco offense. Debo's been putting up some decent points, but it's not the Debo that you want to be paying $90 for. It's
San Francisco is what San Francisco's been for like the last 3 years, and unfortunately, that is hurt. Like I think
well,
even like their
Debo was great
defense,
the last
they're
couple of
missing
years.
they're missing offensive linemen. Like their offensive line, I think was like the one part that stayed healthy the last few years. but their offensive line's hurt, which is why George Kittle's playing left tackle, and like half their defense is hurt again. So it's just a awkward team spot, I think.
Yeah, we got Travis Kelsey doing Travis Kelsey things. I mean, I kind of talked to some people. May break the mold for what, deadline guys get for expiring contracts just because there's quite literally two tight ends and everyone else just goes, hey, maybe you can get me 8 points and that'll be good enough. So we'll see. I mean, if Teals decides to trade him or decides he likes Tunyon enough with him starting that he can move Kelsey and try to improve other spots, Debo being just okay and not the superstar. Curtis Samuel isn't your option. I mean, you're starting Zay Jones, who's on his like 97th team so far in his career. Like, it's
Yeah,
pretty rough.
because of positional scarcity, I'd say that's probably I agree, the most valuable like expiring asset right now.
Yeah,
You could get
contract
into maybe a couple
contract
running
aside.
backs. Yeah, well, that's where I just said expiring.
Okay.
So like the contract really doesn't matter. Right now, it doesn't matter if you're paying Kelsey $1 or you're paying McCaffrey $137. If it expires this year, it only
Yep.
really matters for franchise tag. So
His bench, Tannehill's on a bye. Tannehill can do a little bit. He started Shaq Thompson. It's unfortunate. Jamal Williams is pretty big piece even, especially with Swift out. But when Swift is back, he's still kind of a piece for him. Damian
those
Pierce on a bye.
those Melvin Gordon carries you missed, you can go to Latavius Murray there that you skipped, and there's those carries. In case
Oh,
you're wondering.
good shit. Coolio. Just what I wanted. When he gets Michael Thomas back, that helps a lot too. The big question is which Michael Thomas are you going to get? I know that he's floated trying to move him and freeing up that money. And so for someone, you know, looking to rebuild, Michael Thomas might be a trade target if T Wells doesn't believe him and wants to, free up that salary. May not be crazy to go acquire him and, you know, who knows
He
when he comes
looked
back.
he had stretches where he looked like the Michael Thomas of old before he got hurt.
Yeah, 22-18 and
Because
then got hurt. I don't know if he got hurt in the third game, but I mean 9.
Yes,
But
yeah, he left him and Landry left that third game, and that was
so
when I think Olave had kind of his
yeah, I mean, and a
breakout
lot of those
game.
points were touchdown assisted. If you take out the touchdowns, that's a 10-point week 1. It's a 12-point week 2, and then a 9-point week 3. So not quite the Michael Thomas. I'm dropping 20, and if I score touchdowns, I'm dropping mid 20s to 30s on you. But um, kind of figuring out that offense a little bit. So we'll see. Robbie Anderson might have some value in Arizona with Marquise Brown. Maybe being done for the year. We'll see what that looks like. I'm I'm not gonna anoint it as being great until we see something. I mean, we've seen guys go to other teams. You gotta learn playbooks, catch a ball. Kyler's gonna run around for a while, so
Hopkins is back.
Hopkins is back. So we'll see what that comes, but might help him a little bit. With Cooks kind of not doing a whole lot, um, and some of that. So we'll
Chark
see.
Chark down there isn't gonna get probably isn't gonna get any better either because Jamison Williams comes back this week too.
Yep.
Random Latavius Murray question that you might know the answer to. So Latavius Murray, the Broncos claimed off the Saints practice squad, but I'm pretty sure Latavius Murray played a game for the Saints. Like he played in a game and then got claimed off the practice squad.
I think there's more movement on practice squad onto the main roster because Josh Gordon was a similar case where he got
Okay.
cut from the practice squad of the Titans, but he played in 2 games but didn't do anything. So I don't remember if they changed the rules a little bit ago where like there's a lot more fluency between the
You can
practice
activate
squad.
them. You can
Yeah,
activate them for like just a week or two here. There might be maybe it's like the college red shirt rule where you can play in like 3 or 4 games now,
yeah. I don't
something
know
like
for
that. But
sure, but that's the theory.
that alert just confused me because I'm like, I watched this dude take carries for the Saints, and 2 days later he's claimed off the practice squad. Like, what did
Yeah.
I
All
miss
right.
here?
So moving on to the next game. Try to keep this a little bit shorter. James's team once again puts up really solid scores. They're hard to beat, especially on a low scoring week like this was. Lamar did okay, um, despite once again finding a way to lose his team first game. Fournette, gets solid points again, even as they lose to Pittsburgh somehow. McCaffrey with another 20-point week, 22, 23, 25 in the last 3 weeks is starting to see McCaffrey of old. You don't have the 40, but shit, I'll take a 25-point running back every week and not worry about it.
I was worried about the 40. He had like 8 touches for like 45 yards in there in the first quarter. Like he was at like 12 points in the first quarter. It's like I thought it was coming as I'm looking ready for my team to lose somehow. They found a different way to do it, but
Yeah, Dube's not, he had that big week and then I thought he'd kind of boom out and kind of hasn't. So we'll see. AJ Brown, another solid week, 17. Irv Smith gets the touchdown to kind of, you know, 4 receptions for 7 yards. What a touchdown to save it. Yep. Stephon Diggs did
mm,
Stephon Diggs stuff again. And Gabe Davis continues to be a pain in the ass of everyone playing Gabe Davis.
worst
Um,
fucking defensive play calling for the Chiefs. There's 30 seconds left in the half. What should we do? Leave a one-on-one on the outside down the sideline? What could possibly go wrong?
I don't know.
Gabe Davis.
Flashbacks to Scotty Miller.
And then
Um,
they let Stephon Diggs do the same thing in the third quarter.
Gino, solid. Um, as James found out today, he put $0 in his waiver claim for Geno Smith, so that dude's a free agent next year. Have fun with that. Sorry, James. Um, he's got Daniel Jones there, so he's got a nice three quarterback. Daniel Jones does enough each week, seems like. Uh,
5-1 Giants somehow.
somehow. Kareem Hunt didn't do much. He's kind of struggling. Why you still own N'Keal Harry, I don't fucking understand. Uh,
What
Duvernay's.
does he got for points for the year? Click on that real quick.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
You want to check
Promising.
2021?
A healthy scratch. Okay.
Or do we have season fantasy points in his career? He's at about 130, 140, 140 over 4 years. I don't understand, James. Um, I'm just, I don't understand.
He's on the Bears. But you can't make it
I'm,
onto the field for the Bears?
I'm exactly. I mean, hold on. Let's do another one. Denzel Mims is right there. At least he's been hurt this year. But we got 80 points so far through 3 years. So
The
yeah.
last alert is
Oh,
inactive
healthy
for week
scratch.
two.
That's even, yeah. So what I'm hearing is like James did well year one, but James, tell me what receivers you like because rookies coming in, and I'll make sure that you get them because I'm not touching them. Ingram's doing all right there. So I mean, I think it's been the same James story the whole year. He's got a frontline starters, but if he would lose another starter to injury, it's pretty rough here. You
Gabe
know,
Davis coming on is nice. He did have a few buys, so like you end up dropping. He would probably drop Dubes out of there and throw in like Josh Jacobs,
yeah, he'll get Jacobs back, who's been,
Gallup. and
Gallup might
Gallup's
be
got
help.
potential with Dak coming back. Duvernay's actually been solid
Yep, it's kind of their big
until this week
play
because
stuff. So
I picked him up to start him in a league, so he did nothing. But
we'll see. I'm still not loving it. If he ever has a week like I had last week where I lose 6 guys to injuries, um, you can just shut down his ear because it's over. Um, it can't sustain that. But they all stay healthy. He's doing all right. Then we got you.
he's 5-1. He's got a lot of leeway to still make the playoffs and figure it out from there.
Yeah, if he loses him come playoff time though, you're looking at Jimmy of last year where you're rolling and then all of a sudden you lose Godwin, you lose some of the other guys, and you go, well, this team's just kind of shit now. Look on the other side. Um,
The opposite story: struggle to make the playoffs no matter what you do.
Yeah, you're the probably closest thing we've seen to my first year team that somehow just finds ways to lose. The only difference was I would put up points and lose sometimes. Uh, I mean, you're pretty much the same thing. I mean, Herbert only 8 points, and Denver's defense is pretty solid. Um,
That Denver's defense is menacing.
yeah, I mean, Brees Hall showing up again. Um, 20 carries is always nice to see there. So
There's like
that's
20 carries to 6, something like that. Actually
yep.
getting out of the timeshare, it looks like finally, which is nice.
Which just goes as expected. Daryl Henderson, now that Cam Akers is dead to the world in Los Angeles, getting a little bit. Without the touchdown, you're still looking at a 7 point week. Not really what you're looking for, but we'll see
Watching
what that
this
turns into.
watching this matchup pretty close as we were going through like the noon games or whatever. There was between me and James, there was like 5 touchdowns in like a 10 minutes like real life span as people just kind of racked up fourth quarter touchdowns. Henderson's being one of them. It's like, yeah, great. Oh, fuck Fournette. Oh, great again. Oh, there's Irv Smith.
So we've got Pittman. I mean, when JT's out and they throw 60 times a game, I guess Pittman's bound to get a quarter of them. So a good game from him. That's what we say. Jefferson, pedestrian Jefferson game. We're just still saying 15's not bad.
What a
Uh,
schmuck.
is that Kittle's like best game of the year? Yeah, he
Yes,
almost
it's not close.
he quite literally doubled his scoring output on the year. So that's a start. I mean, you kind of need him to get going to have any chance at winning games. DK,
It's his worst week of the year.
yep. Mari Cooper was
That was a
okay.
goose egg until like the fourth quarter.
Walker, Walker put out 19 is nice. Once again, 20 carries. I mean, not a surprise. He has no competition there, and
It was positive and negative watching it as the first time because he had 51 yards after 2 carries. So 40 out of the other 19, not as impressive.
that's true. So, I mean, pieces are there. The rookie running backs are coming on to come give you help that you were lacking early. So there's some hope. Jameis, you got Tua coming back at some point. Presumably this week. You need Taylor back soon. Um,
That's the big one.
yeah. I mean, Etienne, you're still gambling on James Robinson and him. It's always messy. Some of these other guys
As
are longer.
bench
Hey,
running back of the week.
Allen Robinson, like what? Yep, 2 games has 30 of his like what 40 points on the year.
Yep.
So that happened. And for by Olave,
The Rams are bad.
he'll be back. Yeah, it looked like we had a bunch of winners with Garrett Wilson, Olave. I mean, Olave once he gets healthy here should be fine. But
Yeah, Olave's been really good when he's played. Like
yep,
Olave's like the
Jasicki. I don't know why you didn't start him this week. Might have helped you a little bit there. Um, just saying over this DK Metcalf guy, you might have been better off with Jasicki. Try that next week. Thank me later when you're selling. So yeah, I mean that's a rough one. I mean third highest score and lose is never a fun time. So I go on. Steven, just I don't know, man. I didn't think this team had 88 points in a game where like no one got hurt, right? Like at least
nope.
I put up like 90 when everyone got hurt. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Nope.
Hurts is fine. Chubb has probably worst game of the year, right? By far, worst game. But New England's defense
I think
isn't a
I think
huge
some of
joke either.
your top scoring players had a lot of rough defensive matchups, like the Eagles into the Cowboys. Looking at
hmm
Chubb there into New England is always like kind of run stout. There you go,
Mixon had a
Mixon into
Mixon
New
had a decent
Orleans.
game. Like
Yeah.
that's his third highest on the year, so that's not bad.
Mhm.
I mean, Cup kind of got held in check.
Yeah, that
Only
one doesn't
7
quite make sense.
receptions, no touchdowns. Like the no touchdowns really makes this. But I mean, that's still a decent week for Cup, but 16's not bad. But it's Cooper Cup, so you just expect it to always be in the 20s.
Yeah, this is what
Um,
his second, almost his worst week of the year.
yeah, I mean Evans, 4 for 42. It was Pittsburgh. They just whatever that was. Taysom Hill. I mean, you're gonna gamble on Taysom Hill. Some weeks you get 4, some weeks you get 0, some weeks you get 40. Good luck. Mostert, I don't
I mean,
freaking
for tight ends this year, where you're happy to get 8, the
right.
gamble of 4 or 40 is
Not bad.
that's fair.
McLaurin and CEH here, just not. I mean, McLaurin into Chicago on a Thursday, you knew there was a high potential that game was bad. Chicago's defense really isn't bad, and Washington's offense isn't that good. So, CEH definitely coming down a little bit. Started off hot, 6-3 the last weeks aren't exactly someone who also or CEH not
Again, that's
amused.
Buffalo's defense too.
Same with
So
Mostert doesn't get much done in Minnesota. So we'll see. I mean, he gets Dak back I think this week, right? So that's
supposed to be not
hopefully.
confirmed.
So that'll
Yes.
that'll help stabilize this. I mean, stabilize a what 4-1 team, yeah. So
4-2.
yeah,
It'll
it's somehow this isn't updated.
Sure.
Anyways, 4-2.
Yeah. Just gotta refresh
Um, so it's there. I mean, Tyler Boyd is gonna be okay, but I mean, a lot of this other stuff isn't exactly things I'm ready to say. So I mean, he's got Ertz on the bench here that'll help Everett. So he's got some tight end options. Yeah.
Ertz is like tight end 3, I think, so far this year.
Yep.
Yep.
PPR. So
Ertz is tight end 3. MBS has been, until this week when he got shut out, he was like 9 points a week.
I
Like
mean,
decent bye week plug and play, but not
yeah. I mean, it's the same
obviously
story
not the
as
guy going
James,
for
right?
40.
Like the top end on this team is unmatched. Like my team's never going to touch this if they even come close to their top end. But a few more injuries in key spots, and that's could be some problems. Tyler winning with 109, got to be happy about that. And getting to 4-2, always helpful. Tom Brady kind of keeping chugging along. Kind of those mid. I mean, him and Rodgers both in that mid-teens range, seemingly every week. I'm gonna call it the Marcus Mariota line. Um, so that's fine. I mean, Barkley got the late score to kind of boost that score line. It was looking kind of pedestrian for a while. Whatever this
Has
was.
Tyler sent you a fruit basket as a thank you for that trade yet?
Nope.
Bottle Rumpleman something?
Nope. We'll,
Is he
we'll
just
review that trade
celebrating it up instead?
another time. Whatever this Jeff Wilson game was.
He started off with a fumble like on his like second carry, but
Yeah. I mean, Lazard
again that
Lazard
whole
has a good
Niners
game. Lamb's okay, but I mean,
Lamb gets Dak back.
that's be
He had
huge.
he had a quarterback who threw for like 100 yards and 150 yards in straight games. So
Right. Fant
you're happy
solid.
with 13 then.
Devontae Smith was 15 is solid. Jerry Judy, I mean, he's got Russell Wilson throwing to him. You can't have too much. Aaron Rodgers has what I think is the new Aaron Rodgers scores. Like I said, you're in the teens. I don't think you're getting to get that 3 again, but I'm not sure you're ever seeing a 30-point Aaron Rodgers again.
They play Detroit. Pretty sure everybody scores like 30 points against Detroit.
I've watched Green Bay's offense enough to know that I'm not sure we do that. So, and if we do, I'm sure that there will be a couple scorers. Will be AJ Dillon or, a couple runs. So, I mean, which means Aaron Rodgers going for 30 against me, but we'll see. Mac Jones has looked decent when he's not hurt, but he'll get Swift back at some point. That'll help a lot. Um, Akers died. James Robinson, yeah, good luck starting that or comfortably.
Akers died.
Mooney,
I mean, there's theoretically like Cam Akers could end up going to could get
he
traded
might
to
be
like a running
useful.
back 80 place, and it might that's still a possibility if he
There's
can
hope.
kind of bounce back some. There's hope, but there's also like the flip side where it's
He's dead.
another Rams like Todd Gurley goes elsewhere and is just bad, but he's a lot younger than Gurley was.
So I mean, he's got Waddle here. Um, Logically, doesn't start him with the third string quarterback that no one's heard of. Makes sense. So I mean, you have Waddle, and that's been. I mean, he's had some rough ones here, but he kind of had quarterbacks get knocked out in both of those. Um, Waller's been not the Waller you want to pay for here. It's been rough. Hawkinson. So we'll see. Once again, I mean, it's Tyler's team feels like a slightly better version of mine, where they're gonna each of their players he starts averages about 3 points more, but has the depth that my team had as well. So I don't know if Tyler matches the ceiling that Jimmy or James do, or Steven, but for a nice deep team, he'll have a lot of 130 weeks it seems like. So
It's a team that could, it's deep enough to cover some hits, and then if like it's a team that could load up at the trade deadline, like we've seen some people do
yep.
in the past. Sitting at 4-2, it's not the 5-1 James, but you got decent odds already, especially in the division of life.
Yep. And now we go to the Shitter Bowl, where Cholo learns how to score more than like 110 points for the first time this year. Burrow is doing what he thought Burrow would do. Alvin Kamara, 18 points. He's finally, the last 2 weeks has been a lot better for Kamara. Um, and that's without touchdowns, which is kind of telling. So that's good for him.
It's encouraging, yeah.
Madison, I mean, he didn't really have a choice. He had to start someone, and that didn't work out. Juju's getting going a little bit finally. Hopefully, maybe. I thought it'd be better. Kyle definitely needs to be better. Ayuk got some play. I mean, this is like a Debo score line, you know. So we'll see.
He had their their only two touchdowns of the game.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if I believe that this is a new thing. I tend to believe, 10-point Ayuk is more of the answer, but we'll see. I liked him a lot more with Trey Lance and the connection they supposedly had, but Hurst 5, Cobb in there gets hurt. You know, Sutton,
Out for an unknown period of time, I believe.
yeah, Sutton out or didn't do much. Sorry, um, is rough. Garoppolo does decent. Trevor Lawrence on the bench. The mystery that is Trevor Lawrence. Which one do you get? The every 3 week 25-point Trevor Lawrence or the games in between? So I hope I don't play week 9 Cholo. Please don't let me play week 9. But I mean he had no Connor this week. He was out the injury. Um, Edmonds is kind of a little dead in Miami, I guess. Keenan Allen, he needs him back to do anything. Galladay's about Cam Akers as a wide receiver can be in New York.
I think Keenan Allen is supposed to be this week.
I think I've heard that for 3 weeks.
I think he was like a game time decision this week.
Yeah. So I mean Bateman. So I mean he was missing Bateman, Keenan Allen. So I mean he's got some pieces, but I mean I still look at the team and go, this is a 6th place team if it gets hot. So
sixth place and bounce probably.
Yeah. And Luke, I mean,
he's got both of the Giants' purgatory receivers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Tony in there too.
You got Luke. Kind of needed this win to go 3-3 and feel good. Being 2-4 doesn't feel good when you're looking at this roster. Where before it was like 3-3, you feel okay, things are good. 2-4, you're a lot less comfortable, especially in that division. Life isn't really that good. But Fields finally had a good week. Again, just slightly over the Aaron Rodgers line isn't bad. Zeke does the solid, gets a touchdown for 15. Montgomery only 9, kind of rough. Loses Marquise Brown. I think that was pretty late in the game if I remember right, but wasn't watching it. So, but I mean, you just lost him for probably the year. That hurts. Kirk okay. Matt whatever. I mean, tight ends, whatever. Benjamin only gets 10 subbing in. Didn't get the touchdown that kind of boosted him the week before to 14. Singletary.
15 carries is nice, though. It's at least usage.
Well, I mean, when he's your number one guy, right? Like Connor's out. I would hope you get more than 15, but it's not bad. But I don't know when Connor's back, quite honestly. I don't pay enough attention to Arizona to give a shit. But Singletary, 15 is okay. Kyler, I mean, he's the number 6 quarterback, but mostly just because he's been putting up 20. I mean, I'll take it. Those numbers would be great on my team. Pollard. I mean, it's the same story we've had before. It's, you got both running backs from Dallas, some of that stuff. You did have, St. Brown was on a bye that hurt. Claypool went off, which is maybe good. I would think if I were Luke, I'd almost rather Claypool just die into purgatory and Pickens be your guy with the connection he's seen, but he didn't do anything. So
well, Claypool's rumored as a trade target, potentially for the Packers.
Yeah,
so
I mean
that could actually be.
Well, if he gets traded,
if you then split it off, that was part of why I hated like Pickens going into like the rookie draft. Like talent was good, but I'm like, what is a receiver gonna do in an offense with a shitty quarterback, Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool already there?
Well, it turns out Pickett loves Pickens, so Luke, tell me what the fuck the price is, damn it. I want to know. Make a deal.
You want Deontay's backup? You want another Cincinnati situation on your team?
Load me up, baby. What could possibly go wrong with riding the wrong AFC North wide receivers?
Actually, you'd be just riding all of them at that point.
Yeah, pretty much. We get the Jimmy and Jody. Jimmy puts up a big score. Josh Allen has Josh Allen game. Aaron Jones, man, I thought I was going to love Aaron Jones this year, and I am so thrilled I didn't get him in any league because this just isn't really what I thought I was going to get. So, I mean, he's still running back 14, but it's kind of rough.
He went for like the 70 some dollars he went for. You weren't looking for running back 15
No.
without injuries. So
I mean, Eckler is just killing it. Number one running back in PPR. I mean, those last couple weeks are just crazy.
monstrous.
Yeah. I mean, Godwin getting you 15. All right. Thielen's getting the feel of it a little bit. He's on the upswing a little bit. You mean he's been down, wide receiver 28. It's kind of you're hoping for better. You're hoping for the 15 point, 12 point floor with 20 point, 25 point ceiling maybe. Andrews has been a beast all but 1 week. Um, so Jimmy's one of the two guys that in the league that doesn't need a tight end thing between him and T. Wells. Tyreek going off for 30. I mean, once again, Tyreek is good as it turns out, and that offense is pretty good, um, minus concussions. Matt Stafford, below the Rodgers line is not exactly a place you want to be. So, yeah, number 23 quarterback in Stafford is not what you thought, from last year. Matt
Who do
Ryan
you
is
guess
the
that
19 quarterback.
Brady, Rogers, and Stafford would all be trash this year?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Wilson. Brady, Rogers, Wilson, and Stafford.
Are all,
Been,
basically
been
getting
kind of
outplayed
like
by Marcus Mariota. Yeah,
your Mount Rushmore of like quarterbacks for the last 10 years.
just mediocre. I mean, it's been across everything. There's, Josh Allen and a little bit of Mahomes, and Jalen Hurts, and you got just a death of it, from quarterbacks. You look at kind of Jimmy's bench. I mean, I think it's gonna get better, right? It's gonna get better. I mean, this is the other guy. The target for wide receivers is, dear God, if they're selling, please trade DJ Moore. So maybe like the hype that people have had for a decade on him, or so it feels, would finally be recognized. Is that
Did you see what the dead cap money is like next year if they already traded Anderson if they trade DJ Moore too?
I didn't.
It's like $45 million for those two guys because they just gave them both extensions.
They'll be fine. So I mean, once again, Jimmy's top end is through the roof, but man, if you lose, I mean, you got Freemuth and Higby, so tight end you're okay, but like if you lose, I mean, you got Matt Ryan there if you want to trust that, Zach Wilson, so you're not awful, but if you start losing some of these skill guys, you're already starting Tyler Lockett, who has been decent, I think, right? Yeah, just this week in the
Mhm.
first week, but I mean, you're relying on the Godwin Thielen. You lose some of that. You lose an Eckler. You know, things
Lockett
get
was bad
concerning.
this week because the Seahawks threw to their tight ends like 15 times.
Mm, DK problems. Uh, hey, look at Jody. I mean, 3-3, going back to back is tough. Especially in that division now. I mean, 20 point Mahomes is okay. Cook gets 15, but once again, I mean, when he traded for Cook, you were really hoping for 20 point Cook every week, and you haven't really got that this year. Running back 11 in PPR isn't really what you were hoping. You were really hoping you had a top five back week in and week out.
New coaching staff that doesn't think Dalvin Cook has to touch the ball 30 times a game or they failed.
Yeah, and that was the fear with them. Other
Good
stuff.
for actual football. They're 5-1.
Right.
Bad
Mostly through
for
luck at this point, to be quite honest. But I mean, they're better than the Packers, so I'll give them that. Michael Carter. I mean, as time is winding down, as Brees Hall ramps up, it feels like so. That's the problem. Jacoby Myers. I love Jacoby Myers. Even a rough game for him. Um, you know, that's
Is Zappy legit? I mean, that's again with a third string quarterback.
right. And Jacoby Myers is tons of targets all the time. You know,
Mhm.
Mike Williams. Kind of a little bit of a rough one. He's been good, but what does he do with when Keenan Allen's back? Does he stay good or not? And
He didn't have
Joku,
a catch in week like 2 or whatever, or week 1 or whatever before Keenan Allen got hurt.
right. So, and Joku's been solid. Honestly, I mean, for tight end numbers, it's pretty good life there. AJ Dillon's the same story as, you know, with Jimmy and Aaron Jones. Is like, what are you gonna get? The offense isn't that good. I mean, oof. That's worse than I thought. Um, this Deion Jackson works really well right up until JT is back, and then that's gone for you.
Can they just throw 10 times to JT when he comes back? I'd be good with that. Like 12 carries, 10 receptions.
Yeah, he's got to be
It's
happy then quarterback wise. You got Cousins and Goff. You know, barring that shutout week, Goff was a revelation. Cousins is good, so he's pretty set at quarterbacks. Just nice. I mean, McKinnon can fill in a little bit here and do stuff. He's kind of got the Washington running back problem a little bit of until you figure out what happens, can you start Gibson or Robinson? And I'm not sure you can. Whichever one you
they
start, you kind of hope they score a touchdown.
they slanted Robinson and then came out right after the game and said we need to get Gibson more
Right.
involved.
And
So
Robinson
like it
had,
looked
if Robinson didn't get that touchdown, life is a lot rougher. You know, we're his scorecard too. But I mean, you get 8 points for Gibson. Gainwell Robinson had 12, but it's a 6 point week before that touchdown. Allgeier's not doing
more
much.
the 17 carries versus 5 split.
Right.
Like if
So I mean,
that
yeah, the
stays,
Gibson's 3 catches. But you also know that Gibson's not going to be a third down back because you got J.D. McKissick there. Who's
mm-hmm.
significantly better at that. Jarvis Landry, when he gets back healthy, he had at least some play in that offense. Um, those 3 guys. Hardman got a touchdown this week.
Adams will come off the bye.
Some weeks, yeah. Adams being on the bye was the big one that hurts him, but Pitts got a score this week. I mean, that's a start, right? So, and then Dulcich touchdown, that helps. So I don't know. You know, Jody must think I hate him because I ride his team every year and say I don't like it. I still don't like it. Um, they may be better than mine, but I just I don't know. When you guys start Michael Carter week in and week out, that it doesn't seem like the play. AJ Dillon just hasn't been that thing either. So unless that Packers offense gets figured out, you're starting guys that are averaging under 10 points. That's you can't run that in the playoffs and expect to win. You know.
That's the weird part. Like it's just I think there was something I saw where like this has been like the lowest scoring NFL season so far. Like defenses are just feasting. Um, where you might see some of that be a little more viable, but at least in our league, there's a lot of you kind of said it as we went through teams. It feels like there's like the top teams have like studs and not a lot of depth, and the depth teams don't have like the studs and can't consistently put up like points. So it's kind of an interesting team dynamic and kind of a nice league balance thing a little bit. Where
Yeah,
you
it's
don't have one super loaded team that has all the studs and the depth to everyone's kind of got their question marks. So
yeah. We'll see how it pans out. I mean, we've got another 3 weeks until the trade deadline. I believe it's week 10. Don't quote me on that. But I'm 90% sure it's week 10.
I'm
Um,
also 90% sure.
so I mean,
I
we
think it's
got
like the Tuesday after week 10.
yeah.
So it could be week 11 depending on how you want to count your days. But
So we'll see how these next couple weeks pan out as people figure things out. Um, it's gonna be real interesting as we look at some of the standings. Obviously James isn't selling at 5-1. He might be buying. You know, I know he thinks he's got a hole at tight end. Does T. Wells sell? What does that price look like for Kelsey? We mentioned he could go. Otherwise, realistically, with how the tight end market is, if he notices someone on a team, you know, you could come and throw some shitty pick at someone for their second tight end, and you might just give it to them for a third because they're not fucking helping you either. So, why not? Um, Tyler at 4-2, still sitting there, but you got, you know, 2 guys at 3-3 nipping on your heels. Um, I know he's talked about trading. I all depends. If he loses some weeks in the next couple weeks, I could see it, but I think he stays. T. Wells 3-3. He's keeps wanting to keep pushing for improvements, um, and trying to make playoffs and build a winner. You get my team, which, as I keep saying, is a bad team. So unless I find a deal that I really like, I don't know what we're gonna do. Probably just sit pat and hope for the best and see what happens. Maybe
most of
sell.
your most tradable stuff is on like 3-year deals. So like you're also not you're not in a window where you lose. You
Mm-hmm.
don't lose a dynasty window potentially if you hold on to guys this year. You could still
Right.
have them for your kind of rookie class from last year
And some of the
as a
guys that
core.
I could have sold or could sell are down, right? Like I look at
Mm-hmm.
Deontay, his value's down. Not that wide receiver twos, fringe wide receiver ones ever have value in our league, but you know he's down. Najee's down. Javante's hurt. You know
Henry's down.
Henry's a little down,
He had,
although he's been back. He's been the 20-point running back the last couple of weeks.
did he have
So
multiple weeks? I knew he had one. Okay, so yeah, he's had a couple.
27, 23,
Just
25. He
started
started
rough
weeks.
and
So
then okay.
um, so I mean he's back there. So if I wanted to sell, I expect that'd be someone that you know we would look at with the league resetting. Maybe I'd go use that money elsewhere if I get a good enough offer. But um, no one's talked to me yet, so we'll see where that keeps going.
I
Cholo,
think it's still a little early when you kind of look at it. You got
yeah, I mean
talking
most
about
of the time
those
we're not
four
going
and
to
two,
week 9.
those 4-2, those 3-3 teams are just kind of like in the limbo of the ones you got pushed one way or the other. The 5-1 teams aren't going to be sellers, and the 1-5 teams are likely to be sellers.
Yeah, I mean we'll see. I know Kyle keeps pushing off and hoping to come back, so um, I think he should sell as we kind of talked about in the previous ones. I don't know what he sells unless he decides to try to offload Burrow. Um, with a year and a half left, but I don't know if he really wants to do that or ride him back for next year. Hope Lawrence keeps improving and ride that. Going to Jimmy. Jimmy's looking good. Steven's looking good. Both are in the same boat though, where if they can probably get some depth as insurance, it probably wouldn't be the bad thing. But where do they get it? Um, just kidding. Steven can't buy shit.
Yeah,
Um,
Steven's got like a third round pick and like three
Jody's
contracts over 2 years. Jimmy's at
Jody's
least
kind of
if he
there.
wanted to. Jimmy's got his picks, one
He's got the
year's worth
final
of
pick, yeah.
picks
So he's got
out
a
in the
little
road.
bit he could do if he wanted.
Yep.
Jody's there, but I don't think he's moving picks, so I don't know how you improve that team without, one step back to try to take 2 steps forward, maybe. But I don't know who you're selling unless you're getting rid of Pitts, and I don't know if he really wants to do that, right? Like that'd be the buy on the hype that Pitts will get figured out when down the road. And Luke's in a weird spot where I don't love his team, but he'd gotten some wins, and barring a catastrophic meltdown, he could have been 3-3 right there. So he at least has the ability to sell now because he has his first round pick. Um, but we'll see what he wants to do. And we've got you. I mean, I think this week's pretty big. I mean, you've got me, but you have no Jefferson against me. Really like to get JT back against me. Um,
I've no Jefferson and no Henderson.
right. So, I mean, if you could get the win against my bad team, quite honestly, you're right back in there. You're 2-5, probably 2 games out of the playoffs, maybe
Like it
maybe
would,
one.
I'd be most likely be one game out of the playoff. Well, I'd be
High
one game
likelihood.
out if if I lose and all of all of your favorites win except Jody beats Steven, um, I would actually be 3 games out. And then you start looking at trades. So you'd be four and I'd
Yeah,
be
you get
one and
6-1.
six. You'd be 4-3. James 6-1. Even hell, James loses. It's even worse for me because then
Right.
Wells
Well,
is
there's
four
another
and
game
three.
up.
I'm 3 games out. Tyler wins. He can be 5-2. Jimmy can be 5-2. And then yeah, so there's 2 matchups actually that could go the wrong way if I lose to you, and I could be 3 games out of the playoffs. So
Yeah, it's
um,
it's
that
it's
happens
tight.
surprisingly talking to people because that's like 3 games out is rough. Like the next, if you look at just scoring for teams for the leagues between this week, then I got Cholo, Jody, those like 3 weeks
Yeah, I mean
are
they're the good
they're
teams to
lower.
have leading into it, where you start
Yeah, they're
going, am I in, range? It's a lot better than if you were like finishing off all of your series against Jimmy and Steven, the next couple weeks and going, cool, I get to play Austin and Luke twice and Cholo once and
trade
um,
deadline week. Week 10 is Steven, followed by James in the unluckiest rivalry week possible. That the 3 seed is now from last year's 5-1, and the 2 seed is 1-5.
yep.
Hooray, division movement.
Yeah. Do you have him twice? Is that who you have twice this year?
Yes, I have James twice. I just faced him and lost to him. So yeah,
Okay.
I caught James twice. Just to add to my bad luck for the season, I caught the 5-1 team twice.
Yeah. Did I get Jody twice? Is that who I get? No.
No, you got
Oh, I got Jimmy or
Cholo.
Steven. I got Jimmy because I was
Wait,
the 1 seed last year.
wait.
So
You're supposed to do week 11, or no? This week was which week did you do as the rivalry week or the division week?
fuck if I know.
I thought it was week 11, but week 11 there's a bunch of interdivision matchups. So is this just it? Steven versus Tyler, me versus James, Cholo versus Luke. No.
Honestly, couldn't tell you.
I have to double check that because I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to have James twice.
I know the schedule should be right. I did fix the whole damn thing at one point, so uh, you know,
So
it
like
wouldn't.
this was all cross. Nope, they're in the same division. Like so I faced James twice. So one of those 2 weeks should be the rivalry week or
I
the
don't.
whatever the
Yeah, I don't think. I think last year I had one set for that way. I don't think I did this year. I didn't bother with all of
oh,
that.
it's not all 1 week.
Yeah, I was trying to
Okay.
remember. I told you there was one or not. Yeah, so it's not all that. It's just whatever I conveniently could schedule in and make it work. So
Okay. So then I'm not sure. You were what? You won your division last year?
yeah, which
So it means you
Jimmy.
got Jimmy twice.
Yeah,
You should have Jimmy twice.
so can't wait. I play him again week 10. I think I already played him. I think right. Like I got Jody. At least I got Jody out of the way. Yeah, I already got Jimmy. Jimmy once, so only one more Jimmy.
Okay,
S-
so they just don't all line up. But
Yeah.
okay.
So, yeah, we'll see. Next 3 weeks will be telling here on what we do, obviously, as people figure it out. But it also wouldn't shock me in the slightest if, you know, I could see a world where the only two people we know are dead are you and Cholo. You know,
Hmm.
um, but I could also see a world where you're sitting 3-6 at the trade deadline. You know, maybe 2 games out, going, well, like I could make it and make a run, but what do I
Because the
want?
trade deadline is after that weekend, I'd probably just already have talked. Let's be real. If the scenario happens where I'm 3 games out after this week, I probably start talking to people to see where people are at and kind of build up to it for a few weeks. In part because, well, the pro side for me at least is I am a trade addict, so at least I get to have trade conversations, which are a lot of fun. But if I'm three games out, I'd probably try to have offers lined up, kind of like Tyler did last year, going into that week. And then if I'm 4-6, you probably take the run at it. If
Yeah.
I'm 3-7, you probably take the trade and sell off whatever you can sell off, and go from there.
All
Unless
right.
somebody blows away an offer or something. But
So that'll do it for us. I think look forward in the next couple of weeks. I think we're going to try to find some time and recap the last couple years of trades and give some grades in there. Um, I'll do this as a separate thing from the recaps. So much for my make this short week, 50 minutes. So failed at that one, just like Kenny's team fails at winning. So with that, good night.